start off just by Emineming it, saying, you know what? We're coming from a place of ignorance. This episode is just as much about us enlightening ourselves as it is about us entertaining you. So go easy on us.
Yeah, this episode's going to be great, talking about the wonderful RuPaul, who I love so much. I mean, you know, if you watch our morning show every day, Wepa in the Morning, available at patreon.com/BayRichBoys. We have a segment called Work It Girl, where Yannis and I sing and dance to her famous song, Work.
Yeah, and that's only part of it. The real thing to remember is that segment is all about celebrating women and those who identify as women and their accomplishments throughout history.
Cuz, let me tell you something. You're coming on this podcast low energy, so you got 2 fucking options right now and 2 options only. Okay, Pappas? Listen to me. Either I'm going to come over there and I'm going to start caressing your fucking nutsack, okay? Or I'm going to give you an Eskimo kiss on your belly button, even though I know the word Eskimo is derogatory right now, and I'm sorry about that. So which is going to be? You want to get your nutsack tickled, or your belly button kissed by an Eskimo?
I'm going to go for neither. Is there a third option? We're going all the way to San Francisco in spirit for one of the most, I would say, V, would you call him? Wow. He goes by him. RuPaul, that's his pronoun, as maybe the most influential drag queen of all time. I would say, yeah! Father's Day during Pride Month. It's like,
right.
I mean, can we get rid, look, if we're going to rip down George Washington, can we also rip down some of these patriarchal nuclear family fucking holidays?
Yeah.
I mean, that's so fucking 1987 or even 1777 to even call someone father or celebrate them. What are we celebrating exactly? What are we celebrating?
Right.
A dad? Yeah. You know what dads did? They created a patriarchy. You know what that patriarchy did? Okay? It oppressed people. So let's fucking get rid of it. I want to send my kid to a school that teaches that kid how to hate America and hate the father who pays for that school.
Yeah, that's great. That's the same with me.
Would you jerk it to RuPaul? As a guy.
You mean, would I jerk it to RuPaul again?
Yeah.
Because I already have, cuz. I mean, I've been alive since 84.
You better fucking snap when you read it.
Oh, there we go. Yes.
Snap through it.
He said, you can call me he, you can call me she, you can call me Regis or Kathy Lee. I don't care. Just as long as you call me.
Car. I like that car.
Car.
Because being gay is fucking...
It's fucking fun!
Here's the thing. If you're gay, you're lucky you're liberated. You're liberated from these fucking straight... goddamn limits.
Fucking love it.
I mean,
my hair's moving again.
Yeah, your hair's fucking moving. That's how I know you're Chrissy Chaos. Cause since quarantine, it's.
I mean, I'm fucking wild. I got back with my baby's mama. The kid RuPaul, she came to New York City, and in the 80s,
she came to New York City.
No, but she said she doesn't matter. Ruru doesn't matter.
She wouldn't get better shit.
Ruru Baby doesn't matter. In the mid-1980s, Ruru Baby left the South and headed to New York City and became part of a new festival known as Wigstock. And then Rue came to New York and became that popular fixture in the nightclub. Because the nightclubs in the 80s must have been fun. Your brother, your $3 bill brother, was probably bopping around in the 1980s nightclub scene. He may have bumped into RuPaul. Seriously.
He might have. What I love about the gay community is how variegated it is. There's so much in the spectrum. It's like when you're a straight guy, it's kind of boring. We're just kind of straight guys. You know, some of us read and some of us don't. I mean, because... the gay world is really a Vegas buffet. Yeah. Turn to the left, turn to the right. Do your thing.
Let's play it.
On the runway. Work it, girl. Do your thing. On the runway.
Go ahead. Work. Turn to the right.
Work. Sashay. Shantae. So Fierce became such an anthem that she just skyrocketed to success and pop culture fame. She got a talk show on MTV.
Yes.
She was interviewing big-time celebrities. RuPaul was here. She has arrived.
Yeah.
Yes.
So she made her feature film debut in Spike Lee's Crooklyn. Good movie, Spike Lee's Crooklyn. She had her talk show, variety show on VH1 in 1996. It went through 98. But then she really popped. I mean, really fucking popped for our new fans in 2009 with the debut of the long-running reality TV competition RuPaul's Drag Race, which I was a fan of.
Yeah, here's the thing about...
And I tried to get in.
RuPaul skyrocketed in the 90s. Make no mistake, she was on like the cover of magazines and stuff. She skyrocketed in the 90s. Then there was this kind of like plateau period. She put out a couple more albums. They didn't do as great, even though one of the songs hit the chart. She was making music. I mean, she did like 3 albums. The girl can't sing. She can't play. In America, you can be anything you want to be. Somebody just made her a musician, and she's a musician.
This is America. There it is.
Yes.
Go ahead, Yanni.
His quote is, "We are all born naked, and the rest is drag, baby.
Very true.
Very true.
As soon as you put clothes on, you're in drag. We're in drag right now. It may be a different kind of drag than what you're used to, but we in drag, boo-boo.
It's kind of like the modern form of what Shakespeare said. The world's a stage, and we're all just playing a part. Because we're all just dressing up for each other. What's the true us?
Yeah.
What's the true you?
The true me?
The true you. You're pretty close to the true you.
I'd say I'm pretty close to the true me. I think the true me is a guy who is very comfortable with himself. I think getting turned on by men, but, sexually attracted to women.
What does that mean, you're turned on by men? You always fly by that.
Jesse Owens and the 1936 Berlin Olympics, which are fucking wild. And we're going to have some interesting observations coming at you in a little bit. Go ahead.
Yeah, this one's going to be what you call a little bit of a tightrope walk.
Yeah.
Because of the times of the zeitgeist, but we're fucking diving headfirst into it.
Jesse Owens, he went to Ohio State, the Ohio State University. That's why he was called the Buckeye Bullet. And he was the best track and field athlete in the NCAA. At a 1935 Big Ten track meet in Michigan, Jesse he had the greatest set of track and field events in the history of track. In just 45 minutes of competition, Jesse tied one world record in the 100-yard sprint and broke 3 world records in the 220-yard sprint. Because in 45 minutes, the kid set 3 world records. I mean, yeah. I'm out of breath going up 3 flights of stairs.
Yeah.
And the reason why it's, to bring up that he set 3 world records in 45 minutes and how unbelievably talented this man was and probably the best athlete our country had. He didn't even receive a scholarship to Ohio State. He had to keep working part-time jobs because of the racism at that university. They wouldn't give him a scholarship when he clear and away was the best athlete that the school had.
It's actually insane that he was the best runner in the country. And he had to pay to go to school. So the kid had to work a part-time job, go to class, and then run like all the other white kids who were on scholarship. I mean, Brutes Magoots. I'm voting that Brutes Magoots.
Because I love doing this podcast with you, because not only do I get to be by my best friend, Sergeant Snuggles, but we just learn so much and so many things, especially now in such a turbulent time in our history. It's like you look back in history and you see, like, there's a lot of things that were happening back then that are happening today. It goes again. The history is repeating itself.
Yeah. I mean, this country has had a problem with race, I think, since the beginning. I mean, I think it's not an exaggeration to say that we got a little situation with the racism in this country.
And you got to understand one thing about 1920s, 1930s Olympic athletes at that time. I mean, it wasn't easy for a black kid to even make the Olympic team. As a matter of fact, right before the 1936 Olympics, they weren't even the government or the United States government did not even want to allow black athletes to compete on Team USA. And that's a big problem.
That's a big problem if you want to win golds.
That's the thing.
That's the thing.
Is if you want to win, you should have the black guys on your team.
Yeah.
It's 1936 Berlin Olympics. Of course, there's a name, rounding out this is Adolf Hitler. Adolf Hitler had just become the leader, the Nazi party had just taken over absolute power. And it's interesting, Adolf Hitler, as you do the research on him, which I think people know but don't know, it's he himself, many people think, was at least 25% Jewish. And the Aryan race that he was touting, which was blonde hair, blue eyes, as the Ubermensch, the Ultraman, he was none of those things. I mean, he was a short, squeak of a kid with brown hair and a little baby mustache and what many people say is micropenia. So he was kind of advocating for something he didn't look like. So in many ways, he was history's version of Sean King, because Sean King's a white kid that's advocated for black people. Yeah. So, so I'm not saying, I know Sean King's trying to do good, but make no mistake, he is WHITEEE white.
Yeah, I mean, that is hilarious. Adolf Hitler, in some way, was the Sean King of his day in that.
Clip it.
Yeah, he was advocating for tall, blonde, Aryan-looking kids. And make no mistake, that kid, did anyone look more like a Bosnian accountant than Adolf Hitler?
In 1936, as Yannis was saying, Jesse Owens was given all the amenities that he should have been getting in the United States. So he said the German people treated him more fair than his American countrymen did, because he couldn't believe when he got to the Olympic barracks. He was like, where are our rooms? Because he was speaking for the black athletes. He was like, where are our rooms? And the German people were like, no, you all stay together. This is one big happy family. So there's a lot of bullshit that goes on. Of course, the major bullshit of why we're having segregation in the United States, supposed to be this free, prosperous, beacon of, freedom. But the Germans, who were secretly, obviously in a few years, going to invade Poland and really show their message, were acting as if they were these great people because they weren't segregating the whites from the blacks.
Yeah.
So it's very interesting. You know, and that was all Joseph Goebbels. So we've spoken about him many times. If you don't know, go Google him. He's the propaganda. He was the Nazi propaganda minister, and these were all his designs of having the whole world look at them in the 1936 Olympics. He all of a sudden, all the hating Jew signs were taken down. All the Jewish athletes were allowed to come back and compete, under all these certain guises. But so the cameras are on them, and everybody thinks, oh, the Nazis aren't that bad. But of course they were. Jesse Owens and a man by the name of Lutz Long, who was actually Jesse Owens' main rival, because Lutz Long was the only one who could even come close to competing with him, and they struck up this amazing friendship. Jesse Owens, he had faulted twice on the long jump, and if you fault one more time, you're disqualified. And Lutz Long came over in front of Adolf Hitler, and said, hey, if you put a towel down right before the line, that'll give your mind a cue, and you'll be able to jump from there. And then he put the towel down, jumped, set the record, won the gold medal, and the first person, after he set that world record jump, the first person to hug him was Lutz Long, right in front of Hitler and the rest of the German officers' eyes. And he's just a special guy, and they remained friends until Lutz Long died.
Which is wild, which is a wild thing. So Jesse Owens wins 4 medals, becomes friends with Lutz Longs, comes back home, doesn't get the welcome that he would like because he's a black kid. He's got to go back now and try to find a job. Kid couldn't find a job. I mean, he pumped gas for a little while. I mean, It's crazy. And he's famously quoted as saying, yeah, I got 4 gold medals, but you can't eat 4 gold medals.
There you go.
So he had to make money, and the kid became a smoker. Yeah. Ironic as that. It's ironic
at
that
32 years old.
32 years old, kid starts smoking weed. He ended up dying in 66 from lung cancer as a sprinter. I mean, ciggies are good.
Ciggies are good. Yeah, they taste good. They make the pain go away. But Jesse Owens was not treated fairly. I mean, that kid, after doing that, especially at that time, especially after what was going to happen in World War II, I mean, it's like that kid shouldn't ever have to pay taxes again. He should just be given free room and board by the U.S. government, him and his family, for the rest of their lives. But that's just not. And Jesse Owens also said this. He said, Hitler didn't snub me. It was our president, FDR, who snubbed me. The president didn't even send a telegram. I mean, you can't even send a fucking telegram to the kid. I mean, Lutz Long is writing letters to the enemy from behind Nazi lines, getting him through. You can't even write a telegram, you polio fuck.
Yeah. I mean, history is filled with all these dirty...
Look at FDR segregated black and white servants at the White House. I mean, because when is his wheelchair going to be taken away?
Exactly. They should have took his wheelchair away as soon as he did that.
I mean, because if I see... Make no mistake, if I see a statue of FDR in a wheelchair, I'm tipping it over.